If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives, and don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review. Thanks to Tantaley for sponsoring today's episode. Tantaley has everything you need for your next self-care moment, with a wide range of high-quality companion dolls to fit any taste. So make sure to check out Tantaley and use code RUBYDAY to get 12% off your purchase. Realism redefined. You deserve the best experience. So lifelike, you'll be amazed at how real they feel. I'm Ruby Day.
And I'm Olivia.
And this is Love Shot. I have so been pondering this because I had a situation happen. And one of my coworkers came over and started hitting on me. Wow. And I thought, I have got to get Olivia's opinion on this because dating your coworkers for me is kind of a like, that's skirting the edge of should I or shouldn't I? And it's so tempting because this coworker was super hot. And it's not that, like, if I'd met them outside of work, I probably would have taken advantage of the whole situation and actually gone out with them.
Yeah.
But because they're at work, and it's kind of like, do I even jeopardize that whole professional relationship just because the person's drop dead gorgeous? And we actually have some things in common too. Like, they're a nice person, which makes it even harder to decide.
Yeah. I've never done that. I've never dated somebody at work. I know people who have. I know people who actually gotten married.
I do too.
From meeting at work. So I think it can be, I don't know if it's not a don't do it thing, but at the same time, it can be like a lot of people meet people at work because that's where they spend a lot of time.
I know.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it is something that would make me nervous. I know personally, I tried to avoid it because I was always like, well, if it doesn't go well, then you've got to work with this person and all of a sudden it gets weird and gets awkward.
Well, that's where it kind of gets sketchy for me because yes, if they're in the same department, they're working in the same direct office, that can get kind of weird. I've done that before, and it gets kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, because it all depends on everybody's level of maturity as to what they can handle and what they can't, even if, it just doesn't work out or it goes south or whatever. But like you said, that's where you spend such a large portion of your time. Like, how are you supposed to meet anybody?
Right.
And your coworkers are the people you're around most frequently. And you get to day over day spend the most amount of time with. And so there's where my dilemma totally is. Now, I've dated coworkers. I've not dated coworkers. Some of them have worked out really well and everybody was an adult, but the way that it worked the best for my experience is when they don't directly work in the department or you work a job that you're constantly kind of moving and busy. And so it's not like you have a lot of idle time to run into each other. And even if you do, it's such short stints that y'all can act maturely and get along in a professional means for that short amount of time.
Yeah. So have you done it?
Oh, yeah. I've done
let's
it.
Let's hear some stories of how this went.
Oh, my gosh. Where do I start?
Yeah.
So it was working my very first job.
Yeah.
Which, that in itself, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, you don't know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And there was this guy that I worked with, and we started flirting. And one thing led to another. I ended up dating him for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Now, we worked in the same place that entire time.
Yeah.
And it completely worked because he had different schedules a lot of times than I did. And the type of work environment that it was, there was some separation, even though we worked together, and it was such a fast paced industry
Yeah.
that the only time you had was during breaks when you first got on the floor and
Yeah.
at the end of your shift. So it's not like we had a lot of
Yeah.
interaction when actually at work.
Well, how did you get the connection then? If you just or did you just meet them and then
I
you
just
connected
met
outside
them.
of work?
No, I met them and we ended up connecting at work because we
Okay.
did
Yeah.
work indirectly with each other.
Yeah.
It wasn't constant. So I got some exposure. We got some exposure to each other to even see if we should. And
Yeah.
he just asked me out one day. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Right.
It was total testing period. And that situation worked out well. I've dated other people that I worked with, but the work environment was so hustle and
Yeah.
bustle
Hmm.
that you might see them two, three times during your shift. And
Yeah.
it was always in a very social atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't like working in an office
So
space where you had to
yeah.
directly.
So it didn't get weird.
So it didn't really get weird.
Right.
And
Yeah.
even after we split,
Yeah.
after a short time, it just wasn't weird because we were so
Yeah.
occupied
Right.
doing our job that it just wasn't any big deal.
Yeah.
We could still co-work together, and if we had the same, had to come together to work together, it wasn't a big deal. There was
Yeah.
always a tertiary party or more.
Right.
So it wasn't direct contact, so to speak, at
Right.
that
But did y'all
point.
ever fool around at work?
No. No, no, no. On all of
Oh goodness.
them, never fooled
I
around
know
at
people
work.
that did. And
Oh
I
my gosh, I
yeah.
would be terrified and petrified that somebody would
Yeah.
walk in on us. And knowing my luck, it would always be the boss.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I would always be the one who was blamed for the
Yeah.
inappropriateness. So I always kept it kosher. Even if we did kind of make out or fool around a
Hmm.
little bit,
Oh
it never
yeah.
got too terribly hot and
Right.
heavy. And it was always on breaks. So they really couldn't say, the employer couldn't really
Yeah.
say
Right.
anything, even though it was kind of
Yeah.
known that they sort of discourage
Oh right.
coworkers
Yeah.
from dating each
Absolutely.
other because let's face it, not everybody is mature enough to
Yeah.
handle those
Well, I worked in a
situations.
situation once that was like there was these it was a co-ed working space and stuff like that, and there was these this couple that they started dating each other and became a couple at work. They met each other through work,
Yeah.
started dating at work. They literally got caught by their boss having sex in the office, literally, and their boss
Oh
was
my
like, "All right,
gosh.
wow, I think they almost got fired for it." However, that's like the guy was really good friends with the boss man, and he was like, "Hey, come on!" But he's like, the boss man separated their schedules so that they did not crisscross each other, right?
Yeah.
And because they got caught doing it, and it was always this, kind of joke around the office. It's like, oh, is so and so doing it again? We got to keep an eye on them, the break room or wherever they're at,
Yeah.
trying to sneak around. But they just totally, they were just such a. And they ended up getting married, weirdly
Oh
enough.
my
They actually got
gosh.
married. So it's like, hey, they made a match and they actually found each
Yeah,
other.
it
But the
worked.
fun thing was is they were both really highly sexual people. And they just couldn't keep their hands off each other at work. And it's like, they'd see each other and it was just like that. And so we would catch glimpses of them, definite PDA at work and stuff like that. I didn't see it myself, but we did hear that the boss caught him having sex on a literally. But it's like things like that, but it ended well. Still, it was still a good ending story. I ran into a friend here last weekend that they literally met their now wife at work,
Yeah.
and so that's another positive story that you can meet people at work, and hey, maybe you find your soulmate or something like that.
I actually have
But
friends that
yeah,
they met at work.
yeah,
And it was kind of a hush hush relationship because their employer like had a no tolerance policy for
right,
dating at work.
yeah,
And that always confuses me. It's like you spend
Yeah.
such a large amount of your time at a job,
Right.
and these are the people you're around. So you get
Yeah.
to know them to some
Oh,
extent,
yeah. Yeah.
and they frown on you dating.
Yeah.
But here's probably why. In their instance, so they started dating for several months. It may have even been about a year before they came out to the office,
Yeah.
made it public, and they ended up getting married, actually. They're still
Oh, another
married to
happy
this
story.
day. But the thing is as soon as
Oh,
they got married,
yeah.
the woman quit working.
Oh, well,
She
yeah.
stopped working at her job.
Hmm.
And I think that's probably some of the reason why employers discourage it
Oh, it could be. It could be.
because they
Yeah.
lose employees
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm the type of person that I'd keep working.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be that way.
Well, how many times have
But
you done it? How many
oh
times have
my
you done something like
gosh.
this? Dated somebody at work?
Probably a handful. I mean, it hasn't
Yeah.
been too many because, like I said, I'm real cautious about it.
Yeah. I'm so
Because
cautious I've never done it.
when it goes weird, it
Yeah.
goes really
Yeah.
weird.
Right. I
And not
bet.
every
Yeah.
position allows you to either switch departments or
Right.
not run into the person if does go weird.
Yeah.
So I'm always really hesitant. Like, you've got to hit on me quite a bit. We've got to,
Right.
chit chat. I got to get to know
Yeah.
you, kind of thing. And then kind of test it
Yeah.
out, but not
Oh,
be too
right.
serious about it. Otherwise, I just don't do it at all.
So, have you had any experiences doing this that went south?
Yeah, but the other person left the company.
Yeah. Okay.
Or they switched departments so that our departments weren't ever crossing paths.
And was it because like the dating just it didn't work out or
No.
what? What
No, it
was it?
just, well, it just didn't work out. I mean,
Yeah.
they were nice people.
Right.
It just didn't happen that
So,
way. It just
no
didn't
crazy
continue.
drama or anything.
No. Although I
Yeah.
think that's why they switched departments
Yeah.
because they weren't being able to necessarily handle the breakup.
Right.
And I was totally fine.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it happened at the breakup moment. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like we broke up and then all of a sudden they switched departments.
Yeah.
Now I've had coworkers come over from different departments and start hitting on me
Yeah.
to try to date me, and it's like
yeah.
I don't play that game
Right.
because then we've got multiple bosses
Oh, I know.
that are involved because the
Yeah.
bosses always get involved. And I'm not somebody that likes a whole bunch of people knowing my business
Yeah.
or getting involved in the relationship because
Right.
relationships are challenging.
Oh, yeah. They are.
Even without multiple people engaged in it that have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of for me a bit of collateral damage control
Mm-hmm.
so that it's just between the person I'm dating and me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not everybody else's opinion or getting judged by my coworkers because maybe
Yeah.
they like the person and that person doesn't like them and they're jealous because I got asked out and they didn't, or
So what would-
there's always
yeah.
something. And
Well-
it's like I don't want to deal with that drama. I'm just
Right.
not that
Oh,
way.
no, I don't either. I was going to say, what is your advice for somebody? Because somebody wrote in and was asking, hey, what do you think about dating for work? Which is what brought this topic to us today. And it was really interesting topic, and it was something that I don't have experience with because I haven't dated somebody from
Right.
work because I was very, very, leery of that. Because I
Yeah.
was always worried if something could be, go south or whatever. Definitely have seen people at work that, they're cute and there's a little interest, but I'm like, turn that off. But would you, because, would you
It would have
recommend it or recommend
Well,
against it?
I recommend being cautious
Yeah.
about it because I've also known I've had girlfriends that have dated people at work and it
Yeah.
has blown up in their face.
Oh, I can imagine.
They've lost promotions, they've lost maneuverability in the company. They have been labeled as being, the at work kind of floozy or
Yeah.
loose person or very promiscuous
Right.
when they didn't even do anything.
Right.
And it's that kind of judgment and BS that it's
Yeah.
like, I don't need that in my workplace for me.
No. Yeah,
So
that's
it
what-
takes a really specific, kind of special type of person
Yeah.
for me to make that leap.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I have known a lot of people who've ended up getting married from dating.
I have too.
You know,
Yeah.
coworkers.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to use your own judgment
Yeah.
and
Right.
realize that these are the risks that
Yeah.
potentially can come with it.
Oh, yes.
And the other thing is when I start dating somebody, I don't want to have to go tell my boss who I'm dating, that I got in
Yeah.
a new relationship.
Right.
And I've worked at companies that literally, that's kind of what they expect.
Right.
And I don't think it's any of their business who I see in my
right,
personal life personally. But I understand why they want to know. So if you're working on teams,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't create conflict with that working environment.
So, do you have anything that was salacious that ever happened with dating somebody, a coworker?
I have had people I've dated send me nudies and
Oh goodness, dick pics at work.
yeah, dick pics from work.
Yeah.
I've even
Oh,
had them
Lord.
send me masturbation videos
Oh my.
at
Oh
work.
my. Oh my
And
goodness.
I instinctively
Whoa.
go, this is really fucking hot. However, I
You acknowledge
my,
it's hot. Oh
my
Lord.
conscience is not going to
Yeah.
be clear if I don't be
Yeah.
like, I don't want you to get fired.
Oh my God.
Because that is my biggest concern, that they're going to
Wow.
get caught or it's going to get out and their boss or their
And it-
employer's going to find out.
Right. You're worried about that. It didn't bother you that some
No.
coworker sent you.
Well, no,
material like
I was
that at work?
seeing them.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't
Okay.
like just random,
Okay, I thought it was like a random-
unsolicited. No. That's a whole
That'd be
nother
freaking me out. Oh
podcast.
my God. So it was somebody you were dating at
It was
work, and they
someone
were-
I was
but they were-
dating, and they were at a different
Right.
employer
Right.
and sent me this type of text.
Yeah, back and forth.
Back
That's
and
what- oh, okay.
forth.
While you're at work and stuff.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had people ask me to go to the bathroom and do the same, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there are cameras all over this office.
Oh, I know.
That is the last thing I am going to do, because knowing my luck,
Yeah.
I'm going to get caught on film.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, the worst case scenario, my boss gets excited by it, uses it as blackmail against me.
Oh, no.
And I get demoted
Yeah.
from being able to move up in the company.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I want to jeopardize, because I can't keep my hormones in check.
Right.
You know?
What a great
So,
topic. Oh,
this
goodness.
is-
That was a great question that y'all wrote in. I'm glad you did. You guys should definitely keep your questions coming. We
Oh,
love answering
absolutely.
your questions.
You have definitely
Yeah.
spawned with your questions.
Oh.
A lot of discussion that has
Yeah.
gone on. Or if you just need some advice,
Yeah.
we are more than happy to share our knowledge and expertise.
Absolutely. And our wild, sexy stories.
Oh, yeah. And who knows? You might just find that special someone as a coworker.
If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review.